Hi, welcome to the Village Family Services. I'm Ajen. Today we are speaking with Marty Mendoza, and did I pronounce that right?
You did.
Okay, it's an honor to have you here today,
I
Marty.
appreciate it. Thank you.
So Marty is another strong advocate for autism awareness and takes really good care of his son, who is on the autism spectrum.
Mhm.
Marty, did you want to tell us a bit about your son before
Oh, look at him.
we start with all these questions?
Sure. Well, me personally, like I said, I'm a single dad with a severe autistic son, nonverbal. He can't control his hands, so I do the daily basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have to bathe him, feed him, change his diapers, and him being nonverbal. Like I tell everybody, we speak on a nonverbal level with expressions on his face. If a child with autism that doesn't really speak, if you really watch them, they say a lot with just the expressions on their face. You just gotta tune into to what they're trying to say, and with autistic children, they're always set in their own little bubble. They're shunned from everybody. They're quiet. They don't really let you in their own little sanctum, I guess you would say. It took me 30 years for him to put that trust in me to be part of his world.
Mhm. Yep. How old is your son?
My son is 33. I've been his
33.
mom and dad since he was two.
Wow.
He's
Wow,
just playing.
amazing. He loves the video.
Yeah, he's playing.
um, what kind of school did he attend?
He does not go to school. When my mom was alive, she was a retired teacher. He was homeschooled.
Oh,
And
perfect.
yeah, and also he doctor didn't think he was going to live past 13. And of course, back then, autism really wasn't really recognized, and they were still learning about it.
Yeah.
Here he is, going 33 years old and living strong.
He's doing amazing. Um, what were or were there any characteristics, and I'm French, so I have a hard time with that word, that stood out to you when he was younger?
Oh, well, his ability to catch on things. He was very slow at it. He couldn't walk until he was the age of seven. Well, age of almost 10 or 11.
Okay.
Doctor didn't think he was ever going to walk, and he was bound in a wheelchair. And me personally, I worked his legs every day, just trying to get the muscles built up on him. And
Yeah.
I did that 8 hours a day sometimes. And
Wow.
now you can't catch this little booger. But knowing that he was slower, you could just see that he was taking harder time to understand. He didn't really couldn't talk. He mimicked and mumbled. He
Mhm.
tried to talk, but signs like that gives you an idea with something. It's not normal with him. That gives you an idea what you need to get him checked to make sure what's going on. And he got checked at an early age, around 3 or 4, where they diagnosed him with
Mhm.
severe autism.
Mhm. Okay. Um, is there any behavioral characteristics that stand out to you now?
No, not really. He's basically, even though he's 33, he's at that age of a nine, well, let's say a 5 or 6 year old. He's mischievous. He'll
Hmm.
run in things. He'll grab things. He's a little devil sometimes. And other than that, he's playful, joyful, full of love. And even though his mind's not caught up with his body, he tries his hardest to help. Tries his hardest to help daddy out. Even though he's autistic, and a lot of people say they can't do anything. They're very smart and they're very wise.
Oh,
He
yeah.
will actually help me. If you followed me, you'll see he'll actually take groceries out of the truck and
Hmm.
carry them in the house. If
Yeah.
I put a pile of trash while I'm cleaning, he'll help daddy put the trash inside the trash can and stuff like that. It shows you that they are coherent and they can understand,
Yeah.
but you just got to take your time and patience to let them learn.
Yeah. And
He's
it's all about the details, eh? Like,
Oh yeah, even when I'm at the store, I let him pick
mhm.
out some of the items himself to get him somewhat of a self independency. Even
Mhm.
though he's a child, man child, I say
Mhm.
that he still has to have that feeling of independency where he can do things on his own. Even though I have to do it for him, I give him some of that freedom that where he can make his own choices
Yeah.
to give him more of I guess, an adult feeling. I guess you would say.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, what are some of his interests?
He loves cars. He loves music.
Yeah,
And
he really loves music. I saw that.
you see him, bro. So I can talk. I let them talking.
Hey.
You say hi, baby. Hi.
Hi.
He's just playing. He loves music. He loves cars, and what we do. If you see some of the cars I built a car for autism awareness.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's just something for me and him to bond with. Since he loves cars and music, I love cars and music. It's a way we can bond with each other and just he's silly. I'm sorry. He just playing. He just playing.
He's funny.
That's Papa.
Um,
No,
was
funny.
there any difficulty communicating at a young age?
It was very hard at a young age. He was more sheltered. He was more quiet. He was more timid to new things,
Yeah.
new things, and basically he sat by himself. He didn't want to talk to anybody or try to talk to anybody or communicate. He was in his own little world basically, and it took, like I said, 30 years of me to actually him to trust me to let me inside of his world, his bubble,
Yeah.
to be in his little life. Because with autistic children, they never look at you straight in the eyes. They're always wondering. They're shunned from everybody, and it's just it's harder for actually communicate with them.
Mhm.
But I'm thankful that he actually trusted me to actually do something like that with him.
Yeah, I think once you can understand somewhat their world, it's
Exactly.
just, it's amazing.
It
It's
is. It is.
amazing.
It really is.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
full of love. They're full of love. They trust everybody. They don't have a mean bone in their body because
No.
they don't know what hatred is. And they trust everybody. So I'm always watching them, especially with my son because he has random seizures.
No.
But
Oh,
they're just full of love. And when they hug you, it's not because they want something. They hug you because they love you and they want to hug you.
yeah. Yeah. Full of love.
Full of love. Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
what signs or behaviors did you notice? And how old was he when you noticed signs of autism? We kind of spoke about that, but yeah.
Yeah, notice autism signs with him was early age, around 3 or 4, where he couldn't. He went at an age where he could try to feed himself or bottle fed himself. I had to hold the bottle for him because he couldn't control his hands. He was always moving his fingers, twisting them
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
and him having. And as a matter of fact, when he was at early age, between 3 to 14, he was having 3 to 4 seizures a day.
Wow.
And if you ever seen a seizure, they're not pretty.
Yeah.
Him personally, when they have seizures with him, he'll twist up, gets hard as a rock, his eyes will go back, and it's just an ugly sight.
Wow.
And right then and there, I knew something was wrong with him. So, and of course, I went to the doctor. The doctor said, he has seizures, which we went to the neurologist. They did the scans and found out that something wrong. So they told me to give him tested, which they did a psychological evaluation with him around 3 or 4, and that's when they determined that he was severe autistic.
Hmm. Wow. And the seizures came with that.
Yes, the seizures came with that due to a lack of they back then in layman's terms they said it was like a short fuse in the back of his neck that wasn't getting enough proper oxygen to the brain, which causes him to have to be autistic. Of course, back then they told me they could have did an operation that would have been 80%. He would have been a vegetable. 20% he would have been better. So I told him leave him alone. He's fine as he is. He's my child. I'll deal with it as it comes. And here he is, 33 years old, and still dealing with it.
Wow. Amazing.
He does have his seizures now and then, but not as often. He'll have them randomly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. Um, do you feel autism was explained to you?
Pardon me?
Do you feel like autism was explained to you well?
Not to a point, not really, because back then when it was in the early 80s or early 90s, I would say, like I said, autism wasn't really that much of a ideal. Back then it was diagnosed as retardation. Back then it really was.
Awful.
And it wasn't, yeah, and it went on the spectrum level. They didn't even have spectrum levels back then. It
Yeah.
was either retarded or, and I hate that word, it's such a
Oh,
negative word.
I hate it.
And so basically, I learned as I went. I grew with him. We grew together. And I can tell everybody to this day, he teaches me and I teach him. We learn together. And we're
Yep.
still learning to this day about
Yep.
dealing with autism.
Yep. Amazing. Just looking at a few questions we have, and what do you find most challenging about raising a child with autism?
Well, that's a good question. Most challenging it would be people to understand, people to accept it, and it's for relationship wise. If you can ask any single parent with autism, relationship wise, is it's out the door. uh, it's sad to say, and I'm not embarrassed to say it comes with the territory. I have not been in a relationship in 20 years. I put my whole
Wow.
life aside for my son and his needs because
Mhm.
a lot of people wouldn't accept that. I did try when I was in early age, and they accepted me, but they didn't want to accept my son, and that's when I just said, well, he's not worth it. It's just
No.
been me and him against the world since then. But as for hardness, I would like more acceptance, more understanding, more patience, because you got to have a lot of love and patience with a child like this. And
Yeah.
whoever you meet would have to deal with the same issues with as I am with my son.
Yeah. Yep. Um, how did it change your life?
It changed my life. Hmm. I would say that it changed my life to more of a loving, caring situation, to be more patient, more understanding, and more caring about his needs, and more caring about other people's needs, and accept people for who they are, and never to judge anybody.
Exactly. Um, what have you learned about raising a child with autism?
That it's definitely hard journey, a hard, rough journey. You're gonna have your up and downs no matter what. There're gonna be times that you're gonna want to pull your hair out and cry in a corner, which I did at a young age. I'm not embarrassed to say that
Mhm.
because I was learning myself. But the hardest part is you got to learn patience, love, and understanding because it takes a lot of that,
Yeah.
a lot of it.
It does help to have support
It does,
from
it does, it,
others.
it
That's,
does.
you know,
And if you got
and
somebody else to help you, that is awesome. That
yeah.
is great because it takes a lot of patience, a lot of love.
Yes.
But as for me, yeah, as for me personally, it's just been me and him, and I do what I have to do with him.
Yeah. Good for you.
I do
Uh,
because
what advice can you give to other parents raising a child with autism?
just to don't give up, even though you feel like you're frustrated and you can't go on. It does get better. It does get easier, and you just gotta have a lot of love and understanding to the situation because they don't know what's going on. To them, you're their superhero, I guess you would say, because they look up to you as their superhero. You're their protector. You're gonna provide for them. You're gonna make sure nobody harms them.
Yeah.
So you've got to be that strong, I guess you say, that strong person to show them that you're there for them and to care for
You're gonna make me cry. Is is there anything else important to you and your family that you'd like to share?
them. Then I'm just truly blessed to be in a position to let people know that I'm sorry, regulatory.
You're making me cry.
I tell them it's the mom in me. Is that I'm just truly blessed to be in a position to actually people to want to hear mine and my son's story, to follow us on this journey in life, and just to show much love that everybody does to me and my son. And I'm just really blessed to have all of y'all to be in his life.
Yeah. So on that note, thank you, Marty, for spreading autism awareness, and for being such a wonderful, strong father for your son. It's people like you and your son um, that makes this world a better place. And I am grateful to have met someone like you.
Thank you for being on my journey and being part of this my journey of my son's life. Say hi, Papa. Say hi. Say thank you,
Hey,
baby.
want to say
Say thank
bye?
you. Say bye, Papa.
Bye,
Say
Papa.
bye.
Bye. All right. See